let's talk rectangles. All right, so this video is going to focus on perimeter and area of rectangles. One thing I want to point out, because I know that we as humans get into routines and we like things to always kind of be the same. But remember with rectangles is that they can be sitting kind of long ways down or short ways. So it doesn't matter which way you go. It also doesn't matter if I look at this rectangle and say this is the length and this is the width, and you come behind me and say, no, this is the width, this is the length. In a rectangle, it simply doesn't matter. Just make sure that you're being consistent, right? The widths will always be across from each other. The lengths will always be across from each other. That's what matters. Okay, so we're talking about the perimeter, 2L plus 2W. Because if you think about it, there are, in this case, two lengths. We have to add those together. Or take the length, multiply by 2, and that gives you both of them. Same thing with the width. Perimeter, the definition of perimeter, where's my eraser? There we go. Definition of perimeter is the distance around the outside. So this formula says 2L plus 2W, but it also could say L plus L, W plus W. You're just adding the entire outside. Now the area, on the other hand, is everything that makes up inside, right? So we're looking at the surface space. What covers this? Think about carpeting your living room. You would want the area. How much surface are you covering with that carpet? So the area is found by taking the length times the width, because if we would put these into like squares, basically multiplying length times width will tell you how many of these little squares do you need. So area is in square units, where perimeter is measured in just units. Okay, let's do some examples. Farmer Joe has a rectangular enclosure for his chickens. The length is 45 feet and the width is 27 feet. What's the perimeter of this enclosure? And then what is the area? Okay, so perimeter first. Remember, we'll do 2L plus 2W. So the length is 45. So 2 times 45. The width is 27 plus 2 times 27. Order of operation says we should multiply first. So 2 times 45 is 90. 2 times 27 is 54. And then when I add those together, I get 144 feet. So if Farmer Joe was going to buy fencing to put around this enclosure, he would need 144 feet of fencing to go around the entire side. Now, when we talk about the area is simply length times width. So the length is 45. Let's multiply by the width of 27, and we get 1,215 feet squared. That simply means if we would take this and block it off into squares that were a foot on each side, there would be 1,215 of them in this enclosure. Jack has 150 feet of fencing to create fenced-in area for his new puppy. If he wants the length to be 40 feet, what will be the width? Okay, now you have to figure out, what are you trying to find here, right? He has fencing to create a fenced-in area. Fencing goes around the outside. So that is perimeter. That's what we are trying to find. He wants the length to be 40. We are trying to find the unknown value for the width. So we know the perimeter can be 150. So 2 times 40 plus 2 times W. Well, 2 times 40 is 80. Now I want to isolate and get W by itself. So I subtract 80 from both sides, and I get 70 equals 2W. Divide both sides by 2, and I'm going to say that the width has to be 35 feet. If he wants to use all of that fencing. Obviously, he could make it shorter and have leftover fencing, but that's up to Jack. Kyla wants an area of 300 square feet to create a master garden. The length is 20 feet. What is the width of her garden? Okay, so we're talking about all of this space in here is 300 square feet. So the area is 300 square feet. The length is 20. What is the width? Well, I know that the area is length times width. So 300 equals 20 times W. So to find the width, I divide, right? We always do the opposite. So since I have multiplication, I divide, and I know that the width is 15 feet. So that's the first question. The width is 15. So what's the perimeter? Well, perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So 40 plus 30 is 70 feet. And And that is a little fun, a perimeter and